Thank you.
Did you see that? Did you?
Okay people, it's Socialist Sunday. Welcome to the Sunday live stream here on my left eye. Hope you're all well. Hope you've all had a good week. Thanks for choosing to see the week out here with me, your host Lefty. Solidarity to everyone. And the chat's filling up nicely with comrades already. So who've we got, ladies and gentlemen? Brothers and sisters, they, thems. And comrades alike. Morbius, great to see you. Hev, The Truth, one of Blokey's, Andy Carter. Welcome back. Guitar Guy. Hope we're all doing well. Hope I didn't miss anyone there. Just gonna have a quick scroll, if you'll pardon me. How's your week been? Let us know. Yeah, plenty to come up. Rachel Reeves and Liz Kendall have been making the right pigs here of the economy, of course. We're talking a little bit about that. Issues in the States, of course. I dare say we might be visiting Musk and Trump's, or Trump and Musk's, I should say, batshit crazy corner a little bit later on, as well as the latest in the Middle East. Fortunately, as widely predicted, Israel have broken not one but two ceasefire agreements in, well, technically it's three, in Palestine and Lebanon respectively. But in the case of Palestine, obviously, of Gaza and the West Bank. Right, we'll get on to that later. Hev, thanks a lot for the gifted memberships. Yeah, I do hope they've gone through okay. Sorry, there's been a bit of an issue lately. A couple of the memberships haven't gone through. It's not your fault. There's not a lot I can do about it. We're trying to get to the bottom of it. But thank you very much, Hev, for that contribution to the channel. Yeah, normally the names of the recipients appear underneath the announcement there in the chat. Still looking into that one, people. But please do make sure as well you've also got your settings set so that you accept gift memberships. Thanks again, Head, for that. Andy, you got another refund. Well, I'm glad that the money made its way back to you. Yeah, don't worry. If that does happen, you do get a refund, so please do check whichever method of payment used to gift a membership. And that should come straight back to you if it's not gone through. A few gremlins in the works. We were saying through the week as well, there's been a bit of a problem with comments. Certain comments aren't appearing. Apologies for that. I will try and find the most direct road in to make enquiries. It's pretty tricky, pretty tricky. But thank you very much for your recent contributions. I'll just switch the chat off for a minute while I do say a special thank you to all the members on the channel. And it costs just 99p to add your name to this list of channel supporters. For a membership, there are all sorts of perks for you to enjoy. Check them out. yeah, thank you so much, everyone. It's great to see some of the members in the chat already. Yeah, so they're going to be the main topics I'll be talking about, the ones I just mentioned earlier. Might get sidetracked into one or two other avenues. It wouldn't be unprecedented that we might go off on a couple of tangents. But yeah, please feel free to add your thoughts in the chats as we go along. You do have to be subscribed, and then just 1 minute later you can join us in the chat if you're new to the channel. Also, please hit buttons, thumbs up, give us a share around your social media, whichever ones you're using at the moment. Let's just bring the chat up. Thanks once again to everybody on the members list there. RC Pilot, great to see you in the chat as well. Also, of course, thanks for throwing up the Palestine flags and watermelons. Be showing you the latest on that from Palestine and Lebanon as well, as I mentioned, including an incredible act of bravery. I came across a clip earlier. An incredible feat of bravery against the IDF in one of those situations, but no spoilers. So I got a little distracted there. Where was I? Oh, of course, I've got a comedy clip to come up as well. Be a couple of light-hearted moments, I'm hoping, amongst the articles, clips, and so on and so forth. Odin Allfather, great to see you back again. And Flow Snake throwing up the watermelons. Nice. Now let's have that track again, please. Thank you. Yeah, I persuaded a jazz band to just keep playing the same song over and over again. Bit tight for space here in the studio. It's definitely not a pre-recorded MP3. No, RC, I was joking. It's not a live band. It's not. No, don't quite have that in the My Left Eye budget just yet. It's a live MP3, yeah. Chris, great to see you. How you doing, brother? Thanks for joining us on the Sunday live stream. Excuse me, clear my throat. Hope you're doing well tonight. Well, who's up for some fondue? Let's quickly nip over and see how Keith's doing. If you'll just excuse me switching the chat off just for a moment. Oh no, I did resize it. Well done past me for anticipating I might need to resize Keith's fondue though. It's a little loud. Sorry. That was a bit loud. Well, we'll be starting off after the comedy clip. And like I said, well, Rachel Reeves has been doing the news rounds. She was on Kussenberg earlier as well. If you do want some more thorough analysis of Laura Kussenberg, which I'm sure will include Rachel Reeves's, I can definitely recommend Helena at No Justice and Kevin Logan as well, who like to do a full analysis of that. But I'll be taking a look at her appearance on Trevor Phillips, as well as the latest news that she appears to be showing support for a third runway at Heathrow Airport, which I'm not particularly pleased with. Obviously that goes against climate commitments and whatnot. But we'll get into that a bit later as well. How about Keith himself? Well, generally, we've seen the polling go from bad to worse. I've brought a few polls up on recent live streams. It started off with Reform getting neck and neck with the Tories almost in third place, and then they overtook the Tories, and then they were just 1 point behind Labour, and then most recently we've seen a poll putting Reform in front of Labour, which would still lead to a hung parliament if you projected that onto seats. Wouldn't mean an outright win, but that's just absolutely balls poor as far as Keith's concerned. I'm sure you'll all agree. Never before, certainly in my lifetime, I'm not even sure if throughout history, as it may have passed through living memory, whether a newly appointed Prime Minister's lost popularity so quickly in such a short amount of time. Just about 7 months. Ish. Bad to worse. I'll be referring to a poll or two more later on in the live stream as well. One pertaining specifically to Scotland, where it's a very clear indication of, should we say, a change in direction. So not a great week for Keith. And I've still got to analyse Rachel Reeves getting painted into a corner. But what did they expect? And of course, there has been the announcement about the attack on disability benefits, as it's going to be. This clamping down, this completely unempathetic, unsympathetic declaration from Liz Kendall, who thinks that we're too soft on the unemployed and the disabled. What a curring government. Okay, just checking the chats. Staying live there. It appears to be more or less live. I'm trying to think of any other tedious links to anyone else who's in the picture. Apart from the dog, obviously the dog's innocent. Let's leave them out of this, and the couple at the back, who I'm sure might have just got the wrong address and ended up at the wrong fondue party. Oh, there was one thing, actually. You can see Mandy there, fixing up some cocktails. Semi-tedious link, but there have been further implications. That, yeah, his links to, what you called, Ghislaine Maxwell, and you know what I'm getting at. With all of that business, and what's the other one called? Epstein, who apparently, it's been revealed, has closer ties to Israel than you might be familiar with. I know that was slightly tedious. I did see something about that the other day. That's all I've got to say about that. Yeah, I don't think you could pay me enough money to allow Peter Mandelson to make me a drink that I would drink. Thank God we thought it was bring your own brews, eh, people? Well, that's more of a weekday thing. Obviously, the brews at 10 live streams. Yes, you're right there, Flow Snake. Morbius has got a channel there. I do recommend people check it out. Feel free to pop a link in the chat there, Morbius. I don't know why some of these messages are highlighting as though my cursor's over it, because my cursor's nowhere near it. There's something quite odd going on there. There's been a few odd things going on. Oh, seriously. See, there's my cursor. Well, now it's stopped. Strange occurrences indeed, RC. Strange occurrences, I should say. Indeed. Right, we'll vacate the Fondue party shortly. I don't want it to start humming too much when we get back. What was I going to say there? Yeah, of course, if anyone else is a YouTuber, feel free to post your links in the chat. I'd like to check out your stuff as well. Might be a range of topics, doesn't have to be politics, but you know, we're all supportive socialists here, so let us know and we'll check out your content. Of course, Keith's favourite thing to dip in fondue is sausages. Okay, thank you, Keith. That's all for now. We'll catch up with Keith shortly before we leave. Just strike up the band again. Hang on, come on. It's always the drummers, isn't it? Hurry up, lads. Got a live stream to do here. Thank you very much. Nice tight, yeah, nice tight count in there. Speaking of sausages, there was another exchange the other day as well. I'm referring to hostages, of course, for anyone not familiar with the running joke on the channel. Another exchange of 4 Israelis for another group of hostages that were being held in Israeli prisons. I'll get into that a little bit later though. There's obviously a great contradiction between what was reportedly being done to these women by the right-wing press and Israeli propaganda as to what was actually happening in real life. I don't know if you could believe that for one moment, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. I bet from that moment, I've even forgotten. It was the conference. I'm almost certain it was at the conference when he made that slip up, reading the auto cue wrong and said sausages instead of hostages. But since then, you can bet your balls that every time it comes up in a script or an auto cue from now on, it's going to be in massive capital letters, or if it's on a piece of paper, it'll have yellow highlighter all over it with exclamation marks. And he'll been practicing with his vocal coach as well, of course. The Downing Street enunciation expert. Yes, the sausages were in great condition after they were released. I'll dive into that a bit further when we get into the ceasefire stuff, or lack of ceasefire, I should say. It is disappointing, but I did see it coming, unfortunately. Right, before we start doom scrolling, let's just look at something a little more light-hearted. And more comedy clips to come later. This is a channel who haven't been on any of the live streams on my left eye for a bit, but always great to see them. The Exploding Heads, who of course feature Colin from Portsmouth, for those of you familiar with the sort of mock-up call-in show. Normally quite irate, but this time is actually in a bit of a good mood, as you can imagine, with recent geopolitical events. So this is the Exploding Heads. Oh no, sorry. That's later. Oh no, I'll do that one now then, because I've just announced it anyway. That was going to be later on.
Colin from Portsmouth is on the line. Hello, Colin.
I am excited, Anthony. Absolutely excited.
Right.
God bless America is what I say.
Right.
I've always loved America, apart from when the other guy was in charge. And if I had a crowd fund, I'd have gone out there to his inauguration just to pretend I was in some way friends with him, like half the Conservative Party did.
What is it you like about the new regime, Colin? Is it the fascist stuff? Is it?
The fascist stuff mainly, yeah. I can tell that this is going to finally be the year of the elderly white man.
Right.
For too long, elderly rich white men have been suppressed. Finally, we've got something to shout about.
It's been the year of the elderly rich white man for a number of years, hasn't it, Colin? If not every year.
Oh, yeah? Well, you name me one rich elderly white man who's ever done something beneficial to anyone but himself. You can't, can you?
No.
The underdogs are back.
Well, Elon Musk isn't elderly. He's quite a main person in the regime there, Colin, isn't
Well, his views are.
Yes,
he
his
has
views
the
are
body
elderly.
of a man
Yeah.
in his early 50s. Well, seeing that photo of him with his top off, late 50s. But I assure you, his views are more in common with a man in his 80s boring the arse off everyone in the corner of Wetherspoon. Good luck, Donald. If there has to be one doddery old bloke shaping the fate of the world, I'm glad it's you. Thanks for having me on. Love to the family.
Love to the family, Colin. Love to the family.
That Baron's massive, isn't he?
Yes.
Gary Barlow's son of America.
Colin from
Wonderful, wonderful. The Exploding Heads there. Please do check them out. It's Larry and Paul there. Check out the channel and stuff. Great to see Davinia and BUFU Mike in the chat as well. How you doing tonight? Welcome back. Okay, let's just get the music going again. Yeah, so unfortunately, all of these formerly oppressed, middle-aged, rich white people, as Colin was describing, are now able to put their heads above the parapets in society again. Thanks to people like Trump and Musk, who will be visiting a little bit later on in the batshit crazy corner. Legala Deville, great to see you in the chat also. Hope you're very well. Yeah, Davinia, the Alf Garnets of the world. That's an old sitcom about you, what today I guess you'd call your typical racist snowflake gammon type. Actually played by a hardened socialist. So it was a mock-up, which is I'll just quickly get into how can I describe it? You know, the whole business of the war on woke, and obviously comedy came into this, and people were saying, you know, people on the right, of course, were complaining that various words and certain sketches and things nowadays get edited out of older comedy programs, including Alf Garnett, the character. Of course, in Alf Garnett's case, the character was mocking a racist, sort of snowflake gammon type, like I said. And in a lot of other instances, there have been. But in a lot of cases, obviously, a lot of it revolves around basically words you just shouldn't use anymore, regardless of context. I don't want to get into that whole debate. But yeah, that's one thing that they like to focus on, isn't it? And then turn around and say, oh, well, you can't say anything these days. It's like, well, you can, just don't be racist, misogynistic, homophobic, this kind of thing, you know. The days of your Bernard Manning-esque working men's club comedy have long gone. Even in the 80s, they were saying that they were getting past that. Anyway. Yeah, Warren Mitchell. That's he. Name escaped me for a moment there. Thanks for that, Davinia. That's who played Alf Garnett. So then, right, let's get into the stories. What's the Poor Snake. Why are there no white emoji hands? There's hands for everyone else, but white people only get yellow Simpsons hands. It's blatant discrimination! You wouldn't put it past someone to say that, would you? Okay, I'm going to kick off with Rachel Reeves on Trevor Phillips. It's only a short clip, but also it's kind of the blind leading the blind. You know, one Tory talking to another Tory. I'm sure, almost certain Trevor Phillips votes Tory. Just a bit of background about the context of the conversation and the topic in hand. They're bringing up the fact that Rachel Reeves has decided to actually take it easy on rich non-doms coming into the country, give them more tax breaks, etc. At the same time, Liz Kendall is announcing that there's going to be huge cuts coming to people's benefits. If people are unemployed, they're threatening people with removing the driver's licenses, things like this. And I'm certain that they won't be going after corporate fraud in an equally enthusiastic fashion, let's put it that way. Those benefits, of course, not being the crux of the problem, it's tax avoidance by the huge companies who register abroad and don't have to pay tax here in the UK, even though they operate here in the UK. You know, the likes, the Amazons of the world, and so on and so forth. So it's complete double standards, and just more hitting down instead of fighting up. And the latest example of Labour just not wanting to piss off any of the super wealthy people, while continuing austerity, of course. So that's the context of the topic in hand. Let's take a look at what Trevor was putting to Rachel Reeves.
Colin from Portsmouth.
And it's not that one.
The point I'm really driving at here is that for some people, this concession, let's call it that, to non-doms contrasts with what you're doing to other people. And this morning, you've now written that you're going to tackle the spiralling benefits bill by taking away people's driving licenses, getting people off the stick. Now, this may be justified, but many working people...
Whoa there, Trevor. I'm very happy that he's pointing out the contradiction, the double standards, the hypocrisy, the austerity whilst going soft on the rich. But I wouldn't call attacking people on benefits and the disabled as justified in any sense at all, Trevor. Using the term spiralling to define the benefits bill of the country. Certainly don't agree with that. And we're talking about people who don't work because they can't, because of a physical infliction or condition. They literally cannot work. And Liz Kendall and Reeves here think that they can just shove them out the door and force them into a job. That's the dystopia that lays before us.
People will think that non-doms get sympathy and people on welfare get tough love.
This is about tackling fraud in the benefit system, and quite right too.
Oh my. Okay, well, let's look at one specific example then, Rachel. PIP payments, for example. Do you know what the rate of fraud is in PIP? As a percentage, as a number, whatever. It doesn't matter, it's the same answer. It's zero. It's actually 0.0%. Because the vetting for PIP, and I know people who claim PIP who waited years, that is if they do end up getting it at all. It's a very thorough process. There's a huge amount of paperwork, administrative processes, so on and so forth, that vet the legitimacy of people's claims. And by that process, the rate of fraud is 0.0. So where is it? Where is it? Where is the fraud that we look at? If you look at the rate of corporate fraud compared to, for example, people who are on unemployment benefits, universal credit, and so on, it's minuscule. That is the latter, of course, when you compare the amount of money that we're losing by lack of taxation and being inefficient on clamping down on corporation fraud. So there's not enough regulation there. But no, keep it easier. Keep making it easier for the rich. For your non-dom comrades. Rachel. Right, let's see what else she's got to say. Yeah. Good point there as well, Chris, in the chat. If you qualify, you're entitled. Sure, you know, these people would rather be working, but they can't due to ill health. I'd describe it as Dickensian, but it almost goes beyond that.
If people aren't entitled to benefits, they shouldn't be getting them.
Well, right on cue there. Well, we literally just went over that. Of course, they don't get them if they're not entitled to them. They have to apply for them. You don't just walk into an office and say, yes, I'd like PIP, please, or yes, I'd like to claim universal credit, please, or whatever benefit it is. Bearing in mind a lot of people who are on benefits are also working at the same time. And then they don't just say, okay, yep, there you go. There is a process. There is a due process. And I can't believe that she expects us to lap this up. It's, it does drive me up the wall, I'll be honest with you, comrades. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, they're thems. Every time I hear Rachel Reeves speaking, it makes my piss boil. It's the overconfidence in what she's saying. It's the way that she says it, that robotic, nasal timbre, I guess, that we've unfortunately become too accustomed to lately. And it's awful. It's at least on a par with the worst things that the Tories used to put out, if not worse. Sorry, I'm just going to scroll up the chat. There was a comment there I wanted to point out. I just want to credit the right person, of course. Andy Carter, it was. You pointed out that unclaimed benefits, the money that isn't claimed, obviously, is way bigger than that that's lost by fraud. Yeah, good point. She thinks people are stupid. And just a few days ago as well, it was an interview with Nick Robinson, was it? From BBC. He's on Radio 4 and other things. And they were both sat there, and again, it was like the blind leading the blind. I'll just quickly tell you about this before I carry on with the clip. But she went back, essentially, went back to describing the British economy like a household budget again. Like the Tories, used to do. And she's talking about watching her mum poring over receipts and these kind of things, as though we're supposed to be impressed by that sort of thing. This is someone who likes to market and promote herself as an expert economist when she comes from a call centre background in IT for a bank. Nothing to do with the economy, investments, trading, anything to do with finance. It was about running a call centre. And, well, it's evident that we're in those sort of hands now. Right, let's just crack on with a bit more of the clip.
And at the moment, we waste billions of pounds as a country every year in giving money to people who aren't entitled to it. And what we're saying is if you're ripping off the state and ripping off other taxpayers, we will take money directly out of your bank account and you risk losing your driving licence. So proper penalties for people who, frankly, are getting money.
These things, again, already exist, are already in place. If you're claiming something that you shouldn't, then of course they will stop your benefits. So it's not as though it's completely unregulated and Rachel Reeves is swooping in with a cape, flying in the air, announcing some unprecedented policy, or whatever you want to call it. Again, it already exists. But yeah, from Superman 3, the one with Richard Pryor, Morbius, I think I know what you're on about there. It's just, is it some curtains or some, oh God, a clip, scene of that. Isn't she awful though? She is awful. She's awful. Just quickly going back to the Nick Robinson interview I mentioned as well. Sorry, I just wanted to say as well, where Nick Robinson's concerned, he's nodding along. It's like, yeah, Yeah. Oh, that's a very good allegory. That's a great metaphor for the British economy, referring to the household budget. And it was just pure client journalism, really. Pure ass kissing. And if you're familiar with Nick Robinson, he's often just sat there with that massive grin on his face and a very raspy, gravelly voice now that's quite difficult to listen to. It's unbelievable that this guy's got a radio show, for example. Sounds like he's just been woken up in the middle of the night. But if you've not seen that interview, please do check it out. It's very cringe. Very cringe. Trevor Phillips has been a bit more critical than Robinson was here, at least, but...
money that they are not entitled to, and we'll crack down on that. By the end of the forecast period, we're going to be raising more than £4 billion a year by cracking down on fraud and error.
Well, again, they're pulling things out the air. They're pulling numbers out of the air. If there's no fraud in PIP, then how are you going to, it literally just means denying it to people who would normally be eligible. Before Rachel Reeves wanted to go off, the amount of times we're going to hear growth is going to give you a nosebleed. I'm sick of hearing it already. All we'd have to do to raise $4 billion, Rachel, is just not give any money to the Ukraine war for a year or so. For a year and 4 months, roundabouts. Not think about that? No. Let's go for the unemployed, people on disability benefits. Let's go for pensioners. Let's go for students. Nothing against the super wealthy. In fact, open the door, roll out the red carpet. Come in, but don't pay any tax, it's fine.
For too long, this has gone unchecked. And I think most working people would say, absolutely spot on. I don't want to pay my tax to subsidise somebody who's not...
All right, well, when you want to talk about public money, because obviously it is all public money, not government money, Rachel, that's just about the end of the clip, by the way. But I do want to go on to remind her of where her own salary comes from. And if you're talking about fraud, if you're talking about wastage, that is, you're paid very handsomely by the state, and this is what we get in return. I'd say that's the fraud. I say that's the rip-off, that we have to pay Rachel Reeves, Keir Starmer, David Lammy, all of them. Obviously, most of the people in the House of Commons, But for the people in government, who were paid very handsomely, that's where the wastage is, yeah. Bernie Burrows, great to see you. So I'm doing my best to keep up with the chat while I'm here criticising and ranting. Hope you're all well, including you, Bernie. So yeah, that's the real wastage. I'm sure most of you who were watching from the UK didn't fall for it at the last election. I didn't vote for Labour, but those who did, and I'm sure quite a few of them will also be in receipt of the benefits that we've just been talking about, will be very disappointed. But also very regretful, of course, that they chose to vote for you. Could we have the band on? Just one moment. Good to see you doing well there, Bernie. Yeah, that's right. The people on sick pay are paid a pittance compared to this lot. The reason this is the blind leading the blind, and even Trevor Phillips was trying to almost say that he could see where she's coming from, is the fact that he'll be on a 6-figure salary. Easy, I'd imagine. I need to give the band more tea. If they're slacking me out, I do give them a break now and then. What they did while I was having the rant there. I'm not a slave driver. Of course, I keep them full of refreshments and whatnot. Solidarity. That's mostly for weekdays, but feel free to bring the tea references over to the Sunday live stream. I'm easy. I just want a quick skim through this article before we move on as well. Like I said, she's also shown some support apparently for a third runway at Heathrow. Yes, what the actual king hell. That's the last thing that we need. Where the environment's concerned especially. No. Rachel Reeves wants to stick her fingers in her ears and shout growth over and over again. There she is on Kussenberg. Like I said, if you want to check out a more detailed and very good analysis, as they always are, of Laura Kussenberg, then do check out Helena at No Justice and Kevin Logan. Bookmark that one. So she said she won't comment on speculation and the government will set out its plans in due course. However, she said a third runway at Heathrow will mean that instead of circling London, flights can land, and that sustainable fuel is changing the carbon emissions from flying. Don't know so much about, no. If they're referring to any sort of carbon capture technology, that is pretty much not even a technology. It's something that Starmer's hinted at before that he's going to massively rely on, apparently, to meet our CO2 output goals and so on and so forth for emissions. But it doesn't really exist. It's nowhere near as effective as other avenues that he refuses to go down. Play it again, Johnny. Or Sam, whoever. Where was I? And she's straight in with it already. She said she didn't believe that low growth is our destiny and pledged to go further and faster to remove the barriers blocking investment. It's all boardroom talk, it's all supposed to be impressive language that she's using, buzzwords. It's hollow and meaningless. There again, I believe that clean energy, that reducing our carbon emissions are good for economic growth. That's towards the bottom there, I'll just scroll down. See it there. That totally contradicts. Reducing carbon emissions? Well, okay, right, let's get going. Day 1, 9 AM. Any ideas? Yes. Let's open up a third runway at Heathrow Airport. Fantastic. That is fantastic. I am totally earning the money that I'm paid by the state for the job that I do. Everywhere I look, the word growth is just absolutely sprayed across this article, like it was a Jackson Pollock. Obscure reference. Former leader Ed Miliband doesn't appear to be happy about this though. It says Keir Starmer and 7 ministers who attend his cabinet, including Energy Secretary Ed Miliband and Environmental Secretary Steve Reed, voted against proposals for a third runway. That was back in 2018 when the party was in opposition. So that would have been under Corbyn, and they still voted. Obviously, a lot more of them would have voted against proposals back then than I estimate would do now. And there you go. Look what you missed out on. Would be, we'd be 6 years into the Green New Deal if Labour had won the general election before last. This is pretty interesting though as well, where Sadiq Khan has come into this. It says here, he said his opposition to a third runway has not changed, and he would support a legal challenge if the government backed proposals. But I saw someone putting it to him in a meeting recorded the other day, and he was very, very evasive on giving an answer about whether he would oppose it or not. So, still not sure what side of the fence the mayor's sitting on. Sadiq Khan, that is, of course, London mayor. But it says there's currently no application for the third runway. And in December, the airport's boss said the company needed a clear steer from the government by the end of 2025 for plans to be taken forward. So at the moment, obviously it's not ruled out, but fortunately the process of that hasn't begun yet. I really hope that doesn't come through. Sorry if the chat's lagging a little bit. Just noticed your comments in the chat, ironically. It should be running smooth now. So yeah, we're not impressed, Rachel. Liz Kendall, should say. Neither. More of this to come. But it's very telling, and like I said earlier towards the start of the stream, that's now spilt over into public opinion and into polling specifically as well. I do have one example here I want to take a look at. Just a reminder, of course, the last one we looked at had Reform ahead of Labour and the country set for a hung parliament. With Reform actually would have the whip in that scenario as well, so they would be the ones striking the deals if there were to be any sort of coalition. Yes, literally. I obviously hope that's overblown, doesn't come true. I'm not saying that I hope people will vote for Labour or the Tories or Reform. As always, here on my left eye, I support socialist independents, grassroots parties and the Green Party. and strongly recommend that you vote for those in both local and national circumstances. Excuse me. Jacqueline, thanks for joining us. Great to see you. Yeah, don't worry if you don't always join us from the start. You can always catch up later on. I know some people prefer to play from the beginning with it sped up a little bit until it catches up. So this goes out to everybody who is currently listening to me in a more high-pitched voice. Might start inhaling some helium just to mess your heads up. It's like, wow. How quick is this? Right, so where was I? Yeah, polling and all this business. It's another one from Stats for Lefties, who I do have to give a shout out to. So check them out on Twitter. Always Twitter, never X. Just a quick, whilst I'm on the topic of social media as well, just a quick reminder. Still on Twitter for now. Hoping people will come and join us over on Blue Sky or on Mastodon. So if you do have Blue Sky or Mastodon, please do check us out there. Currently got about 10-15% of people who follow us on Twitter coming over to the other platform. But the quicker can get away from having a profile on Musk's platform, the better. Right, so just quickly back to the polls. Take a look at this one. So this pertains to Scotland specifically, and it is 100% pure swing, as predicted. Of course, SNP only finished up with 9 seats after the last general election. They're already sick of Starmer. Their smelt is bullshit, pretty early on. So it looks like we're set for an SNP revival. Let's see what's happening, people. Take a look at this. Could that be any clearer? Could that be any clearer? The SNP would gain 34 seats, Labour would lose 34 seats. SNP on 43, Labour 3. That's Dundee 1, Wraith Rovers 0. Sorry, just the way I said that made it sound like I was announcing the football scores. So, exact perfect swing back to the SNP from Labour. Could you put it more succinctly? Could you sum it up any better than this that you see before you? The Tories would stay on 5. I guess the only way it could go better for the SNP is if they mopped up a couple of those Tory seats, which they may or may not do. I believe... I'm just trying to think... I don't want to get the figures wrong without checking them out. I can't remember how many the Tories had before the last couple of elections, just as a sort of pattern for how they've been doing. And obviously, nothing for Reform, which is good. Nothing for the Greens, although the SNP are certainly much more environmentally minded and socialist than the Tories, Labour or Reform, of course, including Lib Dems, so can kind of forgive that there isn't direct support for the Green Party. There are obviously other socialist elements as well. And they'll be all too familiar, of course, with climate change and the extreme weather, with the storms that we've been having recently here in the UK. 100-mile an hour winds, new wind speed records being set. Not wanting to be stereotypically British and go on about the weather too much, but that's what we're looking at. Obviously, weather and climate are two different things. But yeah. So just looks like the chat's still streaming very well though. Well done, Scotland. Maybe, you know, unfortunately, they shouldn't have lent the vote to Labour, really. And now, of course, as I said before, when I was talking about Rachel Reeves, anyone who did, I'm sure he's regretting it and is very disappointed. I'm sure Pat McFadden's not going to like that result if, obviously, that becomes projected onto the next general election. Quite a way to go, though. Quite a way to go. Was it stormy down in Devon as well, Andy? It's been a little stormier here in the northwest this evening, but not as bad as earlier on in the week. That was appalling. That's the latest exhibit then. If you're not familiar with Stats for Lefties, they're on Twitter and Blue Sky as well, I believe. So do check them out, preferably on Blue Sky, of course. Sorry, Elon. And it's raining in the northeast. See, the weather reports are coming in thick and fast here on my left eye. Okay, just let me have a quick scan at my bookmarks, people. I want to see which way we're going to go next. Yeah. I think, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, they, thems and comrades alike, it's time for another visit to Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner. Just a quick update on the feature, actually, the batshit crazy corner. There is a playlist for the videos of those that are going to be coming out through the week. I will, of course, be getting on to other topics, as you know, including UK politics as we go. Just at the moment, all the batshit crazy stuff's coming in thick and fast. Often faster than I can keep up with. Anyway, about the playlist, I did remove some of the live streams that feature Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner, just on account of the fact that I can't change the thumbnail, so it looks as though I've put live streams in the wrong playlist, for example. However, I have come up with a solution. I'm going to basically cut out some segments from live streams anytime we do go to Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner. So if you just want to quickly catch up with that, then it's all categorised for you, I guess. So that's something that's going to be coming up during the week on the channel. Please do keep an eye out if you're a fan of the feature. I think it's got legs. It's slowly growing at the moment. Had some interesting comments about the last one with Anders Vistisen, who we watched earlier on in the week, telling Trump to fuck off. Mostly supportive, as always. You do get the odd critic or the odd troll. One in particular, and I'm paraphrasing here, I believe it is an American. Someone that they thought I was too stupid to know what was going on because us Brits are too busy licking the boots of the European Union. Yeah. Sometimes that's the level of intelligence you have to deal with. I believe the person in question has since neglected to reply to me pointing out that we're not in the European Union. That's just one example. I do try to keep up with as many comments as possible. Thanks a lot for all of yours recently. So that was last time out on Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner. Let's see what's happening this week, people. Shall I do it with the Rick Mail intro again? Why not? Why not?
Thank you.
Did you see that? Did you?
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Yes!
We will build a great wall along the southern border.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself.
That is one big pile of shit.
Right, people, here we are once more in Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner. I might make some unique background music for this at some point, but for now we'll just stick with the regular jazz if that's all right with you fellas. Thank you very much. Where to begin? Where to begin? Oh, deep breath. Deep breath in, people. This is an absolute quagmire of feces as it's been since day one of him getting sworn in. I'll be getting on to Musk's appearance at the far-right rally in Germany after we dealt with Trump. We're dealing with Donald first and then moving on to that. Can you fucking... Well, just very quickly on that. After all the controversy over the gesture, which was definitely a fascist salute, let's not dance around it. Make no bones about it, it was. You would think that in terms of optics, in terms of reputation, in terms of how things look, that he would want to keep things pretty low-key and avoid any such association with those groups, unless, of course, he was genuinely part of the far right himself. Huh. But just days later, going on to make a speech at the Alternative for Deutschland far-right German fascist political group's rally beggars belief, although you could say it should be completely expected. Because there's not a lot that you wouldn't put past these two at this particular point in history, would you? Here in 2025. More on that later. Yeah, I've got the video of his appearance, which I guess if you can't laugh at it, you'll have to cry. It's just that littered with hypocrisy and lies. But more on that to come shortly. Let's deal with Donald first, like I said. Got the latest on how it's going with the executive orders that he's been implementing throughout the week, including internal objections to some of them, including, of course, the pardoning of some 1,600 violent criminals, the insurrectionists from the July 6, 2023 riots. 21, I should say. So let's just pop over to the screen one sec. I'll bring this up. Other stuff coming in live, of course, a few hours behind us in the States. Including 25% tariffs on Colombia after United States planes deporting migrants turned back. Of course, Trump thought he was literally just going to be able to send planes full of people to other countries and they were just going to be fine with it, no objections whatsoever. That's the kind of world that this fella lives in. Another thing I'll be getting onto in just a moment is how he thinks that he can dictate to Egypt and Jordan about how they should accept Palestinian refugees, and the language that he used when he's talking about that is absolutely abhorrent. It's absolutely grotesque. He said that he wants the Palestinians to go into Egypt and Jordan so that he can cleanse the area. He's literally described ethnic cleansing. By definition, that is the genocide or removal of a group of people. But more on that in a moment. So it's Senate Republican Lindsey Graham, who's, well, in an interview with NBC, not the BBC, said that the president shouldn't have pardoned the January 6 defendants. He did, of course, pardon the founder of the Silk Road as well, the website where you can buy all kinds of notorious things that are, well, illegal in many countries, including America and the UK. I just want to find this about the objection. Of course, one of the people who was pardoned extraordinarily, just move the screen over a little. There we go. Sorry, I was just trimming off the right hand side there for a bit. Where was I? Yeah, one of the people who was pardoned after the January 6th riots refused the pardon. She held her hands up. She said, "We were wrong. This MAGA cult is appalling. We shouldn't have done what we did." And she's actually refused the pardon. So she wants to, I guess, keep her conscience clear. And thinks that she should remain incarcerated, which is... I can't think of any similar example of that. That's got to be somewhat unprecedented. Vicky Clay, great to see you in the chat. Hope you're well. Good point about the settings. Yeah, apologies there. I've just changed it back to live chat from top chat. Sorry about that. That should, there we go. Apologies. That happened. I had to refresh the window. That can happen. Slap on the wrist. Right, so where was I? Sorry, I've forgotten the name of the lady I was just referring to who refused the pardon. This is a pretty good comeback, though, from the Colombian president. Says, "We never send migrants back to the United States in handcuffs." Well said, that man. That's Gustavo Petro, who is a socialist, has posted several messages on Twitter, always Twitter, never X, criticising the United States and emphasising that migrant deportations must be handled humanely. Petro says there are 15,660 Americans living illegally in Colombia, and he said, "You will never see me burning a gringo flag or carrying out a raid to return illegal immigrants in handcuffs to the United States." He says, "True libertarians will never attack human freedom. We are the opposite of the Nazis." Oh, I said the N-word. Apologies. Sorry, I've just had some temporary demonetisation issues on live streams recently, and they've had to be manually reviewed and so on and so forth. There are certain words that I'm avoiding using. I'm not sure in the cases where the manual reviews resulted in a denial exactly what the reason is, so I can only assume it's things like that. But that's a great comeback. That's a great comeback. Yeah, well said, that man. Sorry, a lot of this is about immigration. I'm just trying to find the thing about the insurrectionists. Oh, here we go, here we go. Oh, that's just about the formalities. JD Vance has stood by the decision. Yeah, I will come across that senator in just a moment. There's been more about Canada, of course, as they say here, but this is how how best can I put this? Somewhat lacking in grey matter, shall we say. The way that Donald Trump thinks that he can tempt Canada into becoming the 51st state of America, I guess technically it'd be the 52nd because, or maybe even 53rd. You know as well as I do, Israel's the 51st state of America. Perhaps the UK's the 52nd. Whichever number it is, he wants to tempt them to become that. And he's trying to lure them in with a far lower grade of healthcare. Yeah. When you compare life expectancy statistics, for example, between Canada and America, who have universal healthcare, they have a system that's socialist, free at the point of use, so on and so forth. He thinks that they'll want to downgrade to an insurance-based system where people get ripped off and they don't get adequate healthcare. That's a real carrot on a stick there, Donald. It really is. Well done. And of course, Canada would get the other privilege of having the money that's owed to them by the United States completely wiped out. Double bonus. And we're talking about some mega billions of dollars here. Pretty desperate. Pretty desperate from Donald. So he says, as you probably know, I say you can always become a state. Canada has been very tough to deal with over the years, he said, adding the US doesn't need Canada's cars, lumber oil, or gas. Yeah, just buy a load of things you don't actually need. Countries Countries do it all the time. Go on some more about those Gaza comments in just a moment. There's the fella. Lindsey Graham, who's a Republican senator, says he thinks pardoning, quote, people who went into the Capitol and beat up a police officer violently is a mistake, though he's not surprised Trump has done it. He did actually say he was going to do it quite a while before he was elected. At least 600 of the 1,600 who were arrested were charged with assaulting or obstructing federal officers. So he's warned that the blanket pardons could get more violence, adding, because it seems to suggest that's an okay thing to do. And here's the thing, 4 years down the road, people, this now does make Donald Trump a lame duck president. Of course, by statute, they can only serve 2 terms. Although, I'm sure he'd do his utmost to try and change that. So because he is a lame duck president, if he doesn't succeed in managing to get a 3rd term, which of course he shouldn't do, that'd be unconstitutional, then you can see the same thing happening again, can't you? And he would make similar claims that he got ripped off. Obviously, he wouldn't be standing in the election, or he shouldn't be. But you wouldn't put it past him. So yeah, saying that this is okay only encourages it more in the future. So yeah, obviously beating down on migrants, that's not going as smooth as he'd hoped. He said he was going to be releasing files about JFK, RFK and Martin Luther King. Not sure what could be revealed to do with that. Could be somewhat controversial, at least. It doesn't look like the rest of the world is going along with his plan to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Of course, there's the Greenland thing as well. Check out the last vid on the channel if you want to see Denmark's reaction to that. So that came up again. And Brazil's foreign ministry is seeking an explanation from the United States government over allegations of degrading treatment of Brazilians who were on a deportation flight. It says incidents took place at Eduardo Gomez Airport involving citizens who had been transported by the US government. Yeah, I just quickly wanted to mention these other comments as well. This is... well, it's batshit crazy. Check this out. So he wants Egypt and Jordan to take in Palestinian refugees. And he's talking about all of them. He's talking about all of them. We're not talking about some of them. He means all of them. But just look at the language here. He described Gaza as a demolition site and said, you're talking about probably 1.5 million people, and we just clean out the whole thing. We clean out the whole thing. He added that the move could be temporary or could be long term. So he thinks he's just going to pick up the phone to Egypt and Jordan and they're going to be okay with that. The man is deluded. The man is absolutely deluded. And how can you speak like that? How can you use that sort of language that certainly implies ethnic cleansing? So it said he made the comments while he was speaking to reporters on board Air Force One. And he said, so I'd rather get involved with some of the Arab nations and build housing at a different location where maybe they can live in peace for a change. Well, no, Donald, because they want to live on their own land, the land which is rightfully theirs, belongs to them, that they've been displaced from the homes. And I'm going to come on to later how they're trying to return to the homes in North Gaza, for example. It's their country. They have the right to live there. That's what should be happening. People should be returning to their homes in Palestine as the rebuilding continues. And Israel and the IDF should be getting kept well away, of course. Ludicrous. So, a member of Hamas's political bureau has replied, our Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip endured death and destruction for 15 months without leaving their land. Therefore, they will not accept any offers or solutions, even if they appear to be good intentions under the title of reconstruction, as announced by US President Trump's proposals, said Bassem Naim. Said our people, just as they've thwarted all plans for displacements and an alternative homeland over the decades, will also thwart such projects. We are the ones who decide our fate, and what we want. This land is ours and the property of our ancestors throughout history. We will not leave it except as corpses, and that is of course completely true. Despite what Zionist Israel might have you believe, with some tall tale about 3,000 years ago, this and that never actually happened. The land is Palestinian. Always has been. Yeah, so that's not going to happen, of course. Hope he gets the same response from Jordan and Egypt as he got from Denmark the other day. I won't read through the rest of the article. You get the long and short of that there. Need to move on to other topics. Always a lot to talk about in Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner. Just got one more thing on Trump before I move over to Musk. And you'll notice in all of these executive orders that have been coming out, it's not been the number one priority of Trump to help people out with the day-to-day lives, with the grocery bills, for example. The price of eggs has come into the debate a lot as well. And this week, apparently in the United States, they hit the highest prices in history, despite Trump saying on day one,
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating...
they did that the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, sorry about that. Had a bit of a seizure there, the old broadcast software. So where was I? Yeah, just about the groceries and everything. So, despite whatever he's promised to do, it's not been about that. It's been a massive move towards the right, coming down on minorities, coming down on migrants, and so on and so forth. But here's a reminder about what he actually said, and then we're going to hear from Brian Schatz, who has already called Trump out on this. It's already evident that this wasn't about the price of groceries. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit how much eggs cost. But this is what he said to try and get people's vote. Just a quick reminder.
Starting on day one of my new administration, we will end inflation and we will make America affordable again because the prices are too high. The prices are too high.
Well, you heard it there yourself. Let's just see that again.
Starting on day one of my new
Day one, he says, day one.
administration, we will end inflation and we will make America affordable again because the prices are too high.
But then you're going to have to get some other hats and t-shirts made that just say MA as the acronym. Make America affordable again. It's in the first week. And yeah, record prices, Donald. Record prices. Like I said, this it's not just me who's noticed this already, of course. Let's hear from Brian Schatz.
I guess it wasn't about the price of eggs after all. You know, anyone who's been involved in planning a wedding understands that seating arrangements are important. They are significant. They are embedded with meaning. And where you put people on the inaugural stage is a strict definition of where you think they rank. And so it wasn't a trivial thing that the wealthiest people to ever walk this planet, who control our communications platforms, were seated in front of the cabinet itself, which, by the way, has a few billionaires and 100 millionaires, but not as wealthy as the people in front, with proximity to power. And that's the point we have to underscore today, which is it was never about reducing the price you pay at the pump. It was never about reducing the price you pay for your mortgage or your rent or your insurance or your grocery bills. It was always about cutting Medicare, Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, Social Security, public education, in order to pay for the largest tax cut in human history. That's what this is. They are ripping you off.
They are. He's 100% correct. 100% correct. Summed up really well there by Brian Schatz. I'm sure you'll agree. No, of course he doesn't care about what Americans would call their middle class. About working people, as Starmer might say over here. Absolutely not. No. He pointed out the huge number of billionaires that he had up on stage with him at the inauguration, including his mate Musk. There was Zuckerberg there, as well as Bezos and others. And I'm going to move on to Elon Musk now. Brian Schatz represents Hawaii. I just wanted to point that out, by the way. So yes, next on Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner, over to Elon. Like I said earlier, probably not the best PR move after the gesture incident to go over and do a show of support for the German far-right party AfD, that's Alternative für Deutschland. Very, very far right. Well, I'll tell you how far right they are. They're actually so far right that Meloni, who is, of course, fascist leader of Italy, doesn't want anything to do with them. Because even she thinks that they're too extreme. And same goes for Le Pen in France as well. Now we're talking about Germany specifically, and despite how they like to try and hype themselves up, they are actually, or were, the party that finished 5th in the last election. And this is who who Musk wants to hype up. Of course, he's getting into the habit of telling other countries how they should or shouldn't vote. He's had a stab here at the UK. Was roundly told to F off. But the AfD have welcomed him with open arms, of course. And why wouldn't they? After the dog whistle he put out the other day on the Capital One arena stage. My heart goes out to you, my arse. So let's go through that with some analysis. Get ready for some face palm moments, people, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, their thems and comrades alike. So I'll just take the logo off first. I should have put these closer together in the broadcast somehow. Here he is.
Ich habe schon jemanden auf dem Ohr, der mich aber noch nicht hören kann.
This is...
Jetzt.
Well, it's batshit crazy.
Can you hear me?
Obviously, the very nationalist, the subject of national pride is going to come up.
He can't hear me.
This kind of thing. It's all the same old crap.
Hello, hello.
Hello?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Unfortunately, I can't hear you very well. So hopefully, wow. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. The audio I'm hearing from my side is I can't hear you. So hopefully this is coming through. You know, please confirm that you can hear me okay?
Yes.
I don't know, raise your hand or something. Okay, all good?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Well, first of all,
sorry, I just want to address a question in the chat. I think it was Meloni as well. I know it's definitely Le Pen, but I think Meloni as well, who refuses to have anything to do with the AfD.
I wanted to really say that I'm very excited for the AfD, and I think you're really the best hope for Germany. I think some things that something I think that is just very important is that people take pride in Germany and being German. This is very important. It's okay to be proud to be German. This is a very important principle.
And that's, just the same old, trying to bring up national pride. No one has created a situation where you can't be proud to be German. It's completely without foundation, of course. Far-right rhetoric. What they're trying to do is say that it's okay to be racist, which it isn't, of course. And trying to use some sort of concept of national pride as a very thin veil for that, which is very telling. Germany's culturally the same way that it's always been, and has been for some time. No one's trying to take away the German identity.
It's proud. It's okay. It's good to be proud of German culture, German values.
But it happened here in the UK as well, of course, with all of the bullshit that
dilutes everything.
Get our country back rhetoric that surrounded leaving the EU.
In the world. We want to have people that have, we don't want everything to be the same everywhere, where it's just one big sort of soup. We want to have something where it's you go to different countries and you experience a different culture, and it is unique and special and good, and that the German government takes actions to protect its citizens and make sure that it seeks the health and well-being of the German people. The German people are sort of really an ancient nation, goes back thousands of years.
It's such an enigmatic stage presence, isn't he?
You should sort of read Julius Caesar's account of first encountering the German tribes in the Gaulic campaigns, and he was like, "Wow, very impressive. These are very, very powerful warriors." So, I think there's
the Romans. What were they saluting while they said that?
On past guilt, and we need to move beyond that. People.
Okay. Just quickly about the Roman thing. Whoever he's referring to would have. Obviously, he's referring to those who started to defeat the Roman Empire, but the era that he's talking about. Modern German culture is completely removed from that. So he's trying to say that the culture shouldn't be threatened, that being proud to be German, whatever that's supposed to mean, shouldn't be threatened either. And then he cites an example of the culture that doesn't even exist anymore, because you're talking about thousands of years ago. Many, many centuries ago. Elon. No? He thinks that Julius Caesar was referring to modern-day Germans, which obviously he wasn't. So that's that. And then if you heard... This is very telling. I just want to go back a few seconds here.
Sure, these are very, very powerful warriors. I think there's frankly too much of a focus on past guilt, and we need to move beyond that. People.
The past guilt he's referring to is, of course, the far-right extremism from the 1930s and 40s, around World War II. That Germans shouldn't feel guilty about that, really. They can just let those atrocities go. Yes, nowadays, in the modern era, all is forgotten. We're not enemies anymore. As nations, things have changed in that sense. But again, this is just another dog whistle for the far right. The nationalism and racism, homophobia, etc. that comes along with it. yeah, so that is definitely something not to forget about, that should always be in our memory, in the sense of making sure that it never happens again. Because when we say never again, we mean never again. With reference to fascism, wherever it might be, whether it's in Germany or Israel or wherever it's happening in the world, or in Palestine, I should say.
Children should not be guilty of the sins of their parents, or even let alone their parents, their great-grandparents, maybe even. And we should be optimistic and excited about a future for Germany. And that's really my message, is be optimistic, excited, and preserve German culture and protect the German people. And, and there's some other things that I think would be very helpful too, which is I think you want more self-determination for Germany and for the countries in Europe.
You won't believe this if you've not seen this full clip. Just check this out.
And less from Brussels. That's my opinion. I think this.
Jesus, wept, man. So he's talking about, he's hinting at Germany leaving the European Union. Okay. I'll just quickly get onto that in a sec. Celadon Fair, great to see you in the chat. I just want to give you a quick shout out. So we're leaving the European Union's concerned. He must think that people have pretty short memories. Do you know why there isn't a Tesla factory here in the UK? Why isn't there a Tesla factory here in the UK? Anyone in the chat know? It's because Elon Musk said that if we left the European Union, that would be a bad thing, and he wasn't confident about setting up a Tesla plant here in the UK, so he set one up instead in Germany. And now he's telling the Germans that they should seek independence from Brussels, from the European Union, from the Single Market and Customs and Trade Union. Is this man on crack? He's on something. Unbelievable.
Too much bureaucracy from Brussels, too much control from sort of global elite, and,
What? The global elites, whoever they are, yeah, they could be anywhere, couldn't they, Elon? Who knows where they could be, who they might be? You ever looked in a mirror lately? You're talking at, supposedly, on paper, the world's richest man, worth somewhere in the region of $500 billion, they say. But no, it's this, the global elites, it's, not me. I'm not manipulating anything. Heaven forfend. I'm just humble little Elon Musk. I'm not an overgrown teenager who tries to blame all of his dickheadedness on false claims of being on the autistic spectrum or having Asperger's. No, I'm definitely not that. Definitely not a global elite. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? Days ago, this man was stood on stage next to Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Tim Rice, the owner of Google, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, and he's talking about global elites. Wind your neck in, man. Pull the other one. And they're whooping and cheering this. This is what disturbs me. Fine, if Elon Musk wants to talk to the ADF rally, then he should be speaking to an empty room, but he's not. These people are lapping it up. Obviously, like I said earlier, they overstate their popularity, having finished 5th in the election. But to anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together, they would surely be able to pick up on the hypocrisy, even if they don't know about the the Tesla factory thing when we left the EU. They surely know that this is the richest man in the world. And he wants to tell them to look out for the global elites. Have you seen that meme of the guy and he's got the high vis on and the hard hat? He's on one side of the table. And there's a person of colour on the other side of the table. And in between them, you see Rupert Murdoch. They've each got a plate on the table. Rupert Murdoch's is stacked up with cookies. The working fella in the high vis has got one. And the person of colour doesn't have anything on his plate. And Rupert Murdoch's turning round to the worker, who's white, I should also remind you, by the way, and says, "Here, mate, do you see that foreigner there? He wants your cookie." Yeah, that's the way it is. Just replace Murdoch with Musk in this case. It's the same thing. What the fuck? There may be trouble ahead, people.
When I've given talks at these sort of global government conferences, what I've said is there should be less global government. There should be more determination by individual countries. So I very much hope that the IFD does
He's running a government department. He's running that Doge. Department of Government Expenditure. So there should be less. There should be less of that. Should there?
IFD. Go.
Why are they clapping?
So you're doing the right thing, is what I'm saying. So.
Thank you, Elon. Can you hear me?
How is this good?
Oh, look at this. It's pure circus seal stuff. Look at this clapping, even in the darkest depths of, authoritarian North Korea. You don't see people clapping like circus seals as much as this lady, whoever the fuck this is, whatever she's got to do with the AFD. No idea. But, God. There should be less bureaucracy, says the head of Department of Government Expenditure. He's an obscenity. Nice one, Otto. And it is obscene.
All right.
Having that amount of money, I think, there should be limits on how much private wealth one can accumulate. I don't know if you remember a great sketch I played on one of the live streams a while back about a fella having won capitalism. He'd gotten up to a certain amount of money. Can't remember how many millions of dollars it was. And they just said, you've won capitalism. It's like, you can live comfortably for the rest of your life, apart from for greed, ego, whatever it may be. There's no reason that you should hoard so much wealth. And if you're hoarding wealth, you're hoarding resources. And you're not stimulating the economy. That's obviously one of the factors of stagnant economies. The money isn't moving around because it's held in offshore bank accounts by the likes of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos.
All right, bye, guys.
Elon, can you see the audience?
Yes, I can see the audience.
Let me...
They look immensely dim. That's what they look like.
Unfortunately, when you talk, Alice, I can only hear some of your words. My apologies. I can only hear some of your words.
Okay.
But
let's go. Let's go. Let me try one thing.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Oh God, so cringe. Anytime he tries to show enthusiasm, it's just the worst, isn't it? Just what comes out. Yeah, I bet that room is Musk tea. This is early days as well, everyone. This is very, very early into the Trump presidency. There's quite a bit more on the clip I've uploaded here. Just want to see what's left. I'm not sure if that is it from the speech or if he's going to do a Q&A.
Fight for a great future for Germany. Fight for a great future for Germany. Go, go, go. Convince your friends. Convince...
Is he trying to do a German accent there? A little bit. If he is, he's failing horrendously.
Everyone, let's go. Yay. Be excited about the future. And if you want to make the future great, if you want the future to be great, you need to make it great and fight for the future to be great. That's how it becomes great.
That is not describing anything at all. If you want the thing, then you just do the thing, and the thing is good, and things will be good, and the thing needs doing, and you just do the thing. Everybody got that? Oh, thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Plato. Thanks for your eternal wisdom. That sage advice there. Why did I not think of that my entire life, Elon? You're just revealing this important philosophical information to me now. Such great life. My life is completely turned around now, and you can relate what he's saying to Germans, to whatever country you live in. God, I'm so stupid. Why didn't I think of that? You know, just do the thing. The thing is good. So obvious now. I'm such a fool. Just look at him. The man you're looking at there is, you know, he's pure evil. Manipulative, immoral, greedy, racist, homophobic, transphobic. All of the worst adjectives you could use to describe anybody. Misogynistic as well. Yes, guitar guy. I've seen a meme of that actually, where Musk has a Charlie Chaplin mustache. Is it though? With the Thor meme. What's he called? He plays Thor in the Marvel franchise. Chris Hemsworth. Is it Chris Hemsworth? Yeah, that's a good one. Let's see if there's any more of this obscenity.
Elon.
All right.
Elon,
Wunderbar.
let me try one thing, and I hope you can understand me. No, you can't?
No, I think I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes, good.
He doesn't know how you work computers
we
or any kind of technology whatsoever.
President Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance.
He doesn't even play his own video games, does he? Or his online gaming when he's doing it live. That's been another thing lately. Oh my goodness me.
All the best to make America great again. You're the best. You're the best.
Yeah. Let's
Some ringing ambulance. I think I'm going to die of cringe.
Exactly. I mean,
tell them it's a very acute case.
We should fight for an exciting, bright future where people can be optimistic about what's going to happen, where you wake up and you look forward to the future.
Hedy, great to see you.
The best way to make the best way to
welcome back, brother.
The future is good. You have to fight for a good future every day, and it will be great.
Fight, great future, great fight. Just think about how good being German is, and yeah, repeat. Yeah, you're right there about the flag in question, the symbol in question, guitar guy. It was appropriated from Hindu culture, something that Adolf himself said that he designed.
And we'll have a very exciting, wonderful future. So, so I think this election coming up in Germany is incredibly important. I think it could decide the entire fate of Europe, maybe the fate of the world. That is the significance of this election. So that's why it's very important to talk to your friends and family and convince them to consider voting for AfD, and just go with it like a chain reaction. Convince one friend, talk to another friend, and say, hey guys, do you want this? Do you want more of the last 10 years, or do you want something different?
Well, then, hopefully in that case, the friends would turn around to them and, I don't know, they'd say, well, I hope they'd say, Nein, Elon Musk ist ein Dummkopf. I really hope that's what's going to happen. What he's alluding to there, of course, is exactly what happened in the 1930s. This could change Europe and the wider world. Is that what he's hoping will happen again?
And I think the people in Germany want something different. And if you want something different, you have to vote for a different party. This is just a fact.
Does he want to match Krieg? What, you know, what is he talking about? What is he encouraging? This is really disturbing.
You are the future of Germany. Make it happen. But I can't emphasize enough. Go out there, talk to people, convince people, one vote at a time. There's a need for change. It's got to be done. And this election is so important.
Yes, Octo. I think you're quite right there.
It's extremely important. I do not say it lightly when I think the future of civilization could hang on this election. So when something is so important, you really need to say, okay, you've got to go all out to convince people to vote for AfD.
Wow. Wow. I just wanted to jump in and, yeah, Celadon Fair, you're quite right there in the chat. He can't code, he's no engineer, he's no inventor at all. He's a buyout hype merchant. He didn't code PayPal, someone else had to do that, but he still muscled the creators out and acquired the rights to say that he invented it. The same happened with Tesla. The Tesla engineers got ripped off by Elon Musk. He knows nothing. The man knows nothing.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
So.
Thank
and you certainly
so
have
much.
you have my full support. You have this. I think this. The Trump administration is also supportive. So. I think the policies that I've heard from AfD, they make a lot of sense. They're really just, to me, when I look at the policies of AfD, they're common sense policies. And just like President Trump has common sense policies, getting things done.
He hasn't got the common sense that God gave the common dog, Elon, and neither do you. And I haven't read through the AfD manifesto in full. I've read synopses of what it's about. And far from common sense, Elon, it sounds like the ramblings of a drugged horse. The same way that a certain other notorious book in English titled My Struggle makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And this is the sort of rhetoric, the sort of politics that he's referring to.
Getting the government out of people's way so that you can get things done, and giving people back personal freedom. And
what freedoms have they lost, Elon? Name one. Name one.
Protecting the people from dangers. These are fundamental things that, frankly, the current government is not doing. Current government is suppressing speech very aggressively, and really, when you suppress freedom of speech, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to have a true democracy.
You could stick that right up your arse. This is the guy who will ban anyone from his social platform who says a bad word about him that comes within his radar, acts like a completely petulant, overgrown teenager while he does so, and then he wants to go on about suppressing freedom of speech. All he means by this is he wants people to have the right to spread hate speech, which of course they shouldn't. and it should be removed from all of society, including social media platforms. That is not any form of oppression to suppress hate speech, to suppress the misogyny, the racism, the homophobia, the transphobia that exists within the far right and in AFD's politics. No, Elon. People don't have the right to spread hate speech, which we know you're referring to there, and you have absolutely no room to speak when it comes to suppression of free speech on your own goddamn social media platform.
Because freedom of speech is the foundation of democracy. People cannot be expected to vote in an informed manner if they are not able to know the truth. So this is why it is so important to have
a South African man living in America who has recently tried to dictate to the United Kingdom who should and shouldn't be Prime Minister, now goes over to Germany and does the same with which party should or shouldn't win the upcoming election. And he wants to talk about democracy within those countries. Not even a whiff of irony there. Not even a whiff of irony from Elon Musk. It is the people of that country who decide. Not Elon Musk.
freedom of speech so people can make an informed vote and it can be a true democracy. But this is not what the current government has been doing. They have been suppressing freedom of speech and putting people in jail for even mild criticisms of politicians or social media posts. This is crazy.
Again, you put people in Twitter jail all the time. Your mate Zuckerberg. Yes, you are pals, even though you might be technically rival social platforms. You're rubbing shoulders with him the other day. People get put in Facebook jail. People get put in Twitter jail.
This is frankly a totalitarian approach. It is not a democratic approach. So there needs to be, we need to restore freedom to the people of Germany and have freedom of speech and have less government oppression in general. So anyway, I think this is, I can't emphasize enough. Go do everything you can, full blast. Put every effort you can into this election. The fate of the world, I think, rests upon this election in Germany. It's extremely fundamental. Everything you can, please go all out. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Great. All the best for you. God blessings. Thank you.
All right. And unfortunately, Alice, I can't hear you. I wish I could hear you, but I cannot. But I can see the enthusiasm of the crowd. And, once again, Dankeschön. And, go.
Oh, just the lack of energy is... Oh, man. He's so bad at public speaking, so bad on stage. He's... Oh, no. That's another good point there in the chat, Andy Cartier. They're quite happy to team up against TikTok, weren't they? Musk and Trump. Man, have you ever heard the like? Have you ever heard the like?
Go, go, go. Fight, fight, fight.
Fight, fight, fight.
All right.
Shite, I think. It's more appropriate phrase there. What do you think about that, people? Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, they, thems, and comrades alike. Let me know in the chats or in the comments if you're watching back on a replay. Wow, that was certainly something. You wonder what the woman on the podium's great-grandparents did in the war. That's a good point there, Jacqueline. I don't know. We might not know. If they, we can only speculate. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the lady at the podium. I think Musk said she was called Alice. Something a couple of times in there. But that would be interesting to know. And he's certainly no Tony Stark. That's for sure. He's just Stark. It's just things look Stark. That's the closest Elon Musk's gonna get to Tony Stark. Yeah, please do keep your comments coming in the chat. Speaking of comments for people who are watching back on a replay as well, just a quick reminder, super thanks are open as well on live streams. That's one way you can support the channel. If you're listening live, gift memberships are always much appreciated, as well as super chats, which are open if you've got anything that really needs my attention. I do address all super chats as they come through. Thanks a lot for your support. Please do hit thumbs up on the stream as well. Give us a share on your social media. Just a quick bit of self-promotion there. So that was the end of the speech, and thus concludes another episode of Trump and Musk's Batshit Crazy Corner. I'm sure there'll be lots more to come. Like I said, it's been coming in thick and fast. I can barely keep up. So let's just go with the outro again.
Thank you.
Did you see that? Did you?
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people
Oh, what a
that
giveaway.
live there.
You hear that? You hear that? That's what I'm on about.
We will build a great wall along the southern border.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
Is somebody going to try to blackmail me with advertising? Blackmail me with money? Go f*** yourself.
That is one big pile of shit.
So yeah, please keep an eye out for the Trump and Musk's Batshit Crazy Corner feature in upcoming live streams and videos. That's all for now. We'll just get the regular logo back up and we'll strike up the band. Quality streaming. Yeah, who knows what's... Oh no, it's not that one. So that's Bruise at 10. What am I doing? That's the one I want. So, yeah, plenty more to come from Trump and Musk. And that was batshit crazy. Yeah, I think you're right there, Mo. I've plenty of content, years worth. Batshit Crazy Corner. So I'll be chopping up that segment and sticking it in the playlist, on the playlist I should say. Please do check that out. I'll go through previous streams and do the same as well. There's going to be more exclusive content to come as well, here on My Left Eye. RC pilot. I like the emojis there. Batshit crazy. Oh, I forgot to do the Fondue Lounge, Keith's Fondue Lounge series earlier. I mean the emojis. Obviously, we went to the Fondue Lounge itself. So wasn't aware that there was a fondue emoji until last Sunday's live stream. Okay, people, moving on. This is turning into quite a long live stream, but we've had quite a bit to get through. Do, of course, always like to keep abreast of the situation in the Middle East. Specifically, tonight we're going to talk about the breaking of the ceasefires, that's plural, ceasefires, in Lebanon, Gaza and the West Bank. I'm going to go over to North Gaza first. I've got a clip. I've got a few clips here from Palestine and Lebanon respectively. Glad you're enjoying the stream, Morbius. Great to see. It's great to be here with you as always. Yeah, no massive rush at the moment. It's a bit of a longer stream, but thanks for sticking it out with me. So off to North Gaza first. This is appalling. Obviously, the ceasefire has been broken. People trying to return north to Gaza have found themselves blocked off by the ADF and fired upon by the ADF. By the IDF. It's getting the acronyms mixed up with the previous topic there. Yeah, but this is obviously a breach of the ceasefire agreement. People should be allowed to return north. Let's see what's happening, people. You can see here clearly these aren't rumours. This has been filmed. There are some very brave journalists there. Obviously, international journalists aren't allowed into North Gaza. The only footage that we get comes from citizens themselves or independent freelancers who risk their lives. They go to great lengths to bring you footage such as this, where crowds of people are openly being fired on. You can see they're all taking cover, getting on the ground, doing what they can. They're very exposed, as you can see. Not a lot to hide behind. No real way of defending everybody there. And as far as the IDF are concerned, these sick bastards think it's a turkey shoot. It's revolting. These are the people who are moving all of the belongings with them as they go. Whatever they can carry, whatever they're able to transport. Whole families as well. We're seeing children amongst that crowd as well as disabled people. And the absolute monsters. The IDF are absolute monsters. Thanks for throwing up the Palestine and Lebanon flags in the chat as well. This is evil beyond redemption. Quite right there, Octo. Mobstrosities. And yeah, Andy, let's hope that the Israelis, that is, are brought to justice. And that can't come soon enough. So this footage is from earlier today. It's just totally heartbreaking, totally sickening. Unfortunately, we predicted there would be breaches of the ceasefire. This isn't the only instance where Palestine's concerned. From the very moment the ceasefire was agreed, Israel accelerated their illegal occupation of the West Bank. And I mentioned on a recent live stream as well about footage I've seen about a man in tears, absolutely devastated that he had to destroy his own home for the Israeli occupiers. And there have been people being killed in the West Bank all throughout the week because they just cannot stop. These people are deluded genocidal maniacs. But it's not just in Gaza and the West Bank, as I said. Today marks the end of the 60-day ceasefire in Lebanon. At that time, the agreement was that the IDF would be removed from southern Lebanon. And not only are they still there, but they are firing upon citizens of Lebanon, unfortunately killing them as well. Over 20 people today killed by the IDF. And earlier on, there was a report, a video put out from the excellent Craig Murray, who's a journalist and human rights activist. So he was there on the scene in Lebanon itself. And we're going to just take a look at his report. Since the report, this video was published, there have been further announcements. As I said, over 20 deaths, 22, I believe it was, just before I came onto the live stream with you. But Craig Murray's going to go through the details. Please do check out his content as well if you're not familiar with him. Alwyn, great to see you in the chat. Thanks for throwing up with Palestine flags as well.
Today, 4 people have been killed just behind me with shots fired from the Israelis who are around the vehicle. It's an Israeli armoured vehicle, you can see, at the top of that hill, and they're in position there and in the surrounding houses. They've been shooting and killing Lebanese civilians who are attempting to return to their homes. And as I speak, we can hear more gunfire in the distance. There has been a massacre across Lebanon today. At least 11 Lebanese have been murdered by the Israeli army on the day that the ceasefire expires, and the Israeli army, under the ceasefire deal, is supposed today to withdraw fully from Lebanon. They are not withdrawing, and they are massacring Lebanese attempting to return home. And I want to repeat that again. To our knowledge, so far today, at least 11 Lebanese have been killed, and at least 90 others have been shot and wounded. And we ourselves were a little further down this road 20 minutes ago, and we witnessed a 12-year-old boy being shot by the Israelis just here and taken away in an ambulance. He's not among the 4 who were killed just here so far today.
Incredible reporting there from Craig Murray, incredibly bold to go there on the scene, clearly putting his life on the line, getting as close to these incidents as he can. So yeah, please do check out Craig's Murray. Very disturbing report there, but also the sort of thing that we've come to expect from Israel soldiers, from the IOF, the Israel Oppression Forces, the misnomer IDF, of course I'm referring to there. And he's a tremendous human rights activist, as I said, and you can see the genuine emotion there as well in having to report the incidences, including the 12-year-old boy who was injured. But Israel doesn't care if you're a civilian, they don't care if you're a member of the military wing of Hamas, they don't care if you're a child, they don't care about your age, they don't care if you're disabled, they don't even care if you're a dog or a cat. And I'm just going to take a deep breath here before I go into this next section. Sorry, just one moment, people. Because it really does make my piss boil, the atrocities that we're seeing day in and day out. Some of the recent revelations include Israelis throwing a cat off of out of a multi-story building, out of the window, several floors up. These are the kind of sickos that we're dealing with here. And other reports that they've shot dogs as well. It was a 17-year-old boy who threw the kitten out of the window, and I've seen the footage of it, and it is just absolutely stomach-turningly bad. I'm not going to play that here on the live stream. You know, some things you just can't unsee, and I've seen so many of those throughout this, and that's definitely right up there. So we need more Craig Murrays in the world, obviously. Even the BBC have now admitted that international journalists aren't allowed into Gaza, that the Israeli offensive forces block mainstream international journalists from going inside. Even Jeremy Bowen has said that. Jeremy Bowen himself. Yeah. So I'm sorry to have to report those harrowing instances, but these are the people who we're dealing with. This is the kind of mindset that needs to be eradicated. It's not just an issue of land, of territory, of people's lives. It's also the Zionist mindset itself, the same way that any form of extremism on the right, far right, racism, it's got to be suppressed and rooted out. We need to stand up to that. Speaking of standing up to it as well, I mentioned Craig Murray's been very brave here in his reports, and as always. But here's another example. Lebanese woman, unable to identify. Fortunately, this clip came to me from Suppressed News earlier today. Please do check them out. But an incredible act of defiance you'll see here. A group of Lebanese citizens trying to make their way towards the south were again stopped by the IDF, fired upon by the IDF. One woman in particular stood out and openly shouted at the soldiers, putting herself in the line of fire, to tell them that they're not going to be thrown off of their own land, to remind them that it is their country and not Israel. So if you've not seen this going around social media today, check it out. But this is incredibly brave, incredibly brave. You can hear the shots there. These are very close. You can see about 4 or 5 IDF just over that little ridge there in the middle distance. That's how close they are to the gunfire. Can you see? Just above the lady there. And she stood with, you know, she's making herself a massive target there for them. Stood openly. Wow. She's asking, why are you here? This is our country. Look, she bends down, she picks up the land itself. She picks up the dirt and says, this is our land, this is ours. What right do you have to be here? And that's obviously 100% correct. It's a perfectly well put point. And being the cowards and the bullies that Israel are, they're probably not too used to civilians being so defiant and standing up to them. They're used to shooting people while they're running away, you know, shooting them in the back, or children. Probably a bit of a shocker. But it worked because they stop. They stop firing. They can't believe it, and I think that's incredibly brave. Like I said, I can't identify the lady. I just saw this clip earlier on Suppressed News. So absolutely have to take my hat off to that sort of defiance, putting herself right in the line of fire there. But this is what will happen, you know, you give people nothing to lose. What else do they expect? They're not just going to lie down and let Israel walk all over them. These are some of the bravest people in the world under some of the worst conditions that you could imagine in the world. That's happening right now in Lebanon and Palestine. Well done, that lady. Well done, that lady. Just bring the background music back up. 1 sec. Thanks again for all of the Palestine-Lebanon flags and the watermelons in the chat. Always appreciated. Free Palestine, free Lebanon. Not that you can actually bet on these kind of things in a bookmaker's, but if you could bet on Israel breaking a ceasefire, wherever it might be, you'd probably get 10,000 to 1 on odds. That's how consistent they are. They have never upheld a single ceasefire agreement in the history of their existence since 1948. They have never upheld one single ceasefire agreement. And unfortunately that still counts here in 2025. Just having a quick look through the chat, people. Yeah, indeed. Normally, you see videos like that, and the next thing that happens, yeah, they're normally unalived, as it were, as you point out in the chat. But not in that case. I think there's a quick article to go through as well on that. Just want to make sure I've got the latest. Just jump over to the screen again. 1 sec, people. So that's the 22 that have been reported killed so far, as I mentioned. So yeah, they should have packed up and got the fuck out of there. But no. They hang around, they kill 22 people, wound 124. Thousands of residents returned to towns and villages near the border despite warnings that it was unsafe. but they said that they'd fired warning shots in multiple areas. 22 people have been killed. Warning shots? They lie and they lie and they lie. So it's been the end of the 60-day agreed ceasefire. But still they remain. So that was the deal. It's just reminding us, was brokered by the United States and France, and it put an end to 14 months of conflict, stipulated the withdrawal of Israeli troops and the removal of Hezbollah fighters and weapons from southern Lebanon. Now, the Lebanese have upheld their end of the bargain, of the agreement, but Israel haven't. And they've got a new president, Joseph Aoun. So it's just pointing out this will be quite a test for him. I guess I have to agree. And the conflict there escalated last September, leading to an intense Israeli air campaign across Lebanon, the assassination of Hezbollah's senior leaders, and the ground invasion of southern Lebanon. The offensive killed around 4,000 people, including many civilians, and led to the displacement of more than 1.2 million residents. That is a lot of people. That is a huge amount of displacement. Also worth reminding you, the ground troops from Israel got their asses absolutely handed to them in Lebanon. This wasn't like it is in Palestine, where they're picking on civilians who are sitting ducks, essentially. Oh no, they faced a lot more heavy resistance. When they actually came up against an actual army, you know, where it is an actual war where two armies are fighting one another, and it's not just a collective punishment and an occupation and a genocide. So the last word on that, it says, since the ceasefire agreement has yet to be fully enforced by the Lebanese state, the gradual withdrawal process will continue in full coordination with the United States. Yeah, but of course, knowing the United States, them being mediators, yeah, fine, whatever. They're not going to sanction Israel because of this. They're best buddies. Okay, right, that was some particularly grim viewing and reading there, people, so I'm going to try and raise our spirits back up a little bit. I've got another comedy clip here. This is a great one from the Broken News. And obviously back to weather and the climate again. This is a really good parody about why none of the mainstream media can figure out what's going on behind the extreme weather that we've experienced here in the UK and around the world recently. So this is the latest from them. Do enjoy.
Welcome to Broken News. A new report says it's difficult to identify exactly what is causing devastating recent weather events across the globe. Many are struggling to explain these record-breaking and in some cases deadly meteorological phenomena. Our reporter has more.
Too many brown people. That's one helpful explanation offered by Bob Widdicombe over on the Broken News Facebook page for these unprecedented climactic occurrences. Thanks for that, Bob. For most of us, we haven't seen weather events like these in our lifetimes. And who knows, Bob could be onto something, as journalists like us struggle to come up with any obvious causes. Despite what some have called robust and broad consensus from the scientific community regarding the destruction of our natural habitats, exacerbated by the endlessly damaging actions of mankind, as well as extensive reports issued by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, we simply have no idea what could be causing it. Not the foggiest. We are totally stumped. One prominent climate scientist told us, "Well, it's obviously man-made climate change, isn't it? Obviously. In the early 90s, I predicted it would lead to more uncontrollable wildfires, more flooding of coastal areas, and superstorms with the ferocity of Godzilla giving Mothra a heavy bumming." Well, that's one point of view. However, on Twitter, Love My Country 1968 pointed out that it snowed recently in Mansfield, and in his words, "What fucking happened to global warming?" An excellent point, well made. Well, I've been speaking to someone who calls themselves an expert on climate, and I asked them what could be causing this increase in extreme weather events.
Well, it's climate change, isn't it?
What makes you think that?
I'm a professor of atmospheric, oceanic and planetary physics at Cambridge University. I've dedicated my entire life's work to the study of the climate. I was awarded the Appleton Medal from the Institute of Physics for my work on climate change. And I've been analysing the data non-stop for decades. My conclusion is that man-made climate change is causing an increase in the prevalence of extreme weather events.
So that's your view, but a guy called Carl put this on Facebook just today. He claims that these latest weather events are simply the Abrahamic God punishing all the Hollywood gays for the sodomy and paedophilic act, and that it's righteous justice raining down on the heads of the sodomites, the blasphemers and godless deviants. It's certainly a compelling argument, isn't it?
It's not compelling in any way at all. It's complete fucking...
So, as you can see, there are very different but equally valid views on this important issue. It doesn't look like we'll reach a conclusion anytime soon. Do keep your views coming in, and thank you to Tracy from Tamworth, who simply says, "I say bring it on. Can't wait to tan my big old tits. Oggy, oggy, oggy." Thank you, Tracy. For now, back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much. What a lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
Wonderful, Larry and Paul. Do go and give them a follow. Great stuff, great stuff. Yeah, who needs scientific evidence when you've got someone on Twitter's opinion? Should say as well, I missed out some gifted memberships earlier whilst we're in one of the clips. Thanks a lot to Andy Carter for your 5 gifted memberships earlier on in the stream. Sorry for the late shout out there. Again, I hope they've gone through. Keep us posted on those. Yeah, Jacqueline, I did a double take on that one as well myself. The heavy bunning. Wasn't quite sure if that's what it said. I thought I heard something else. Floor Snake, I wasn't aware of that particular example. Was the loss of audio a burn on the BBC cutting sound, or a technical glitch, wink wink, on the guy who said that the released sausages looked in good health? Yeah, perfectly good point. Mentioned that earlier. I did say we would come on to that, so thanks for reminding me. Yeah, the 4 hostages who were released looked perfectly healthy. They said that they'd been treated very well. Completely the polar opposite to what we've seen from the people being returned from the Israeli prisons. the Palestinian hostages. So I'm not familiar with that exact clip. I might try and root that out from somewhere. But yeah, I really wouldn't put it past them. Of course, they try not to let any of the hostages speak to the press before they've been, should we say, prepped or threatened or blackmailed into saying the opposite of the truth. Which is that they were all treated very well. Yes, unfortunately, many of the hostages were killed, but we're more than aware that that's often the case, often the result of shelling from Israel itself. Of course, Benjamin Netanyahu never actually cared about the hostages. He just wanted to use that as an excuse, obviously, to continue his collective punishment, to continue the genocide. It's even been revealed recently as well, just very quickly, that Hamas made him an offer to return a hostage for nothing in return at one point, which he declined. So in the end, they just went and dropped the hostage off at the border, and that was it. He didn't care. Jantakar reporter did a piece on it. I will have to check that out. Yeah, that's a good channel actually. Do have a few mutual viewers from that channel according to YouTube analytics as well. So thanks a lot for the recommendation there. I'll definitely look into that one. Wouldn't put it past the BBC at all. Had it not been cut off, I would imagine that whoever the presenter was would have immediately jumped in and leapt to Israel's defence. Oh, well, of course, this is what Israel would say, because obviously BBC reporter speaks on behalf of the IDF or Benjamin Netanyahu, don't they? Yeah, we'll check that one out. Speaking of checking out, I'll be closing the stream quite shortly. I am just going to take a look if we've got another channel to redirect or raid into, as it were. Whilst I'm doing that, I do want to give a customary thanks to the members again, if you'll forgive me for removing the chat for just a moment. Want to make sure everybody's names are visible there. Thanks again to everyone. Thanks for the gifted memberships on tonight's stream as well. And final reminder, if you want to join this list of incredible supporters on the channel, it's just 99p, much cheaper than even the price of a tasty hot beverage. And there's some perks for you to enjoy. So it looks like No Justice and Kevin Logan are both still live, if you want a bit more of an in-depth analysis at that Rachel Reeves appearance on Laura Kussenberg. We went to Helena last time, so I think it's Kev's turn. Trying to spread the solidarity evenly as we go. So we'll be redirecting into there in just a moment. Please do stick around. I'll join you over on Kevin Logan's live chat for a little bit. So that's all set to go. Yeah, it's been great to see everybody here on the Sunday live stream. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back throughout the week with more videos and the brews at 10 as well. Please do hit the notification bell to make sure that you keep up with the latest content on the channel. Oh, Kit, it's great to see you. Late shout out. Didn't see you there. Great to see you as always. Great to see all of you as always. Thanks a lot for all of your comments in the chat. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your evenings, everyone. Let's get over to Kevin Logan. Just do a quick outro. And I'll see you over there, everyone. Stick around. Solidarity. Happy Socialist Sunday. My Left Derby. Seeing you soon.